Today we're plunging into a topic that, well, many of us mistakenly think only happens far away. When we hear the word tsunami, our minds often jump to distant shores like Indonesia or Japan.
Right. That's exactly it. And that's the common perception we really need to challenge here. Because the surprising truth is the United States is also very much under threat.
Really, even here.
Absolutely. From the rugged shores of Alaska down to the sun-soaked beaches of California and, even the apparently peaceful coastlines of the East Coast, the tsunami threat in the USA is real. And it's arguably more dangerous than most people realize precisely because it's so often underestimated.
Okay, so to truly grasp this often misunderstood threat, our deep dive today is going to take us on a bit of a journey. We'll dissect what tsunamis truly are, unearth America's surprising past encounters, pinpoint today's high-risk zones, imagine future impacts, and critically assess our readiness. How ready are we really? So, okay, let's dispel a common misconception right off the bat. When we talk about a tsunami, it's rarely just one massive wave, but rather a deceptive series of long, powerful ocean surges. Isn't that right?
Precisely. A tsunami is a series of long, high sea waves, often called a wave train, not just one big one, and they're caused by sudden, powerful disturbances in or near a body of water. Now, while most tsunamis are triggered by massive undersea earthquakes, that's the most frequent cause, definitely they can also result from, say, large-scale landslides, significant volcanic eruptions, or even though it's very rare, meteor impacts that displace just an enormous volume of water.
And the physics behind them are just mind-boggling. These waves can travel at jetliner speeds. We're talking over 500 miles per hour across the deep ocean. You wouldn't even notice them out there, would you? Just a subtle, long swell, almost invisible.
That's right. Virtually imperceptible from the surface in deep water. But that all changes dramatically as they approach the shore. As the ocean floor gets shallower, the energy of that fast-moving column of water, it sort of compresses. This causes the waves to rise dramatically in height, often with truly devastating force. What was a barely noticeable ripple in the deep ocean becomes, well, a towering wall of water as it hits the coast.
Wow. Given that destructive power, it might surprise many that America itself has a compelling and sometimes tragic history with these waves. We've witnessed them before, some small, others deadly.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
The most impactful event in our recorded history happened back on March 27, 1964. A magnitude 9.2 earthquake rocked Alaska, which, just to put that in perspective, was the second most powerful earthquake ever recorded globally.
The 9.2.
It really was. And the resulting tsunami was catastrophic. It killed over 130 people across Alaska, Oregon, and even down into California. This event wasn't just a tragic loss of life, it was a huge wake-up call. It fundamentally reshaped our understanding of the scale of tsunami risk on U.S. soil, It exposed vulnerabilities we hadn't fully grasped before.
And just to give you a really vivid picture of that event, in Crescent City, California, waves as high as 21 feet slammed the coast, 21 feet, obliterating, destroying much of the downtown area. Can you imagine that wall of water hitting a bustling Main Street? It's the stuff of nightmares.
It truly is. And it's not just historical events buried deep in the past. More recently, think about the 2011 Japan tsunami. That triggered waves that crossed the entire Pacific Ocean. And despite traveling thousands of miles, those waves still caused millions of dollars in damages to West Coast harbors and marinas here in the U.S. It just shows how far-reaching these events can be, even when they start very far away.
Okay, so with that surprising and frankly sobering history in mind, it really begs the question, where are America's coasts most vulnerable to a tsunami right now?
Without a doubt, the Pacific coast. That whole stretch all the way from Alaska down to California, that's the most tsunami-prone area in the continental U.S.
Okay, the Pacific. Why there specifically?
Well, the main reason is the Ring of Fire. You've probably heard of it. It's this huge horseshoe-shaped belt where Earth's tectonic plates are constantly colliding, grinding against each other. This leads to nearly 90% of the world's earthquakes and, as a result, most of the world's tsunamis. It's just an incredibly active seismic zone, constantly under pressure.
Right, the Ring of Fire. And within that zone, I understand there's a particularly vulnerable spot, the Cascadia subduction zone.
Exactly. That's a big one to watch.
It runs off the coast of Oregon and Washington, right? And scientists are warning, well, what are they warning about Cascadia?
It's what's called a locked fault. Basically, one massive oceanic plate is slowly grinding under the North American plate, but it's stuck. It's building up enormous pressure, like a spring being compressed. Scientists warn that when this built-up energy eventually releases, and it could trigger a major earthquake, maybe magnitude 9 or even higher,
Hmm.
and that could generate a truly massive tsunami with potentially only minutes of warning for coastal communities there.
Minutes. That's terrifying.
It is. Now, let's not completely forget the East Coast. While tsunamis are much rarer there, they are certainly not impossible. It's a different kind of threat.
Okay, how so? Not tectonic plates.
Less about tectonic plates directly, more about submarine landslides. Huge underwater landslides in the Atlantic Ocean could potentially trigger unexpected waves. We actually have an example. Back in 1929, a tsunami generated by an offshore landslide killed 28 people in Newfoundland, Canada. And that same wave reached U.S. coastlines further south, although thankfully with much less impact. But it's a stark reminder, that even seemingly placid areas aren't completely immune.
So what does all this mean for us today? Let's take a moment to just imagine it. Picture a regular day, maybe in a major coastal city like Seattle or Los Angeles or maybe even Miami Beach. The sun's out, people are, going about their business, shopping, working, walking on the beach, and suddenly the water begins to recede. Way out, exposing the ocean floor, fish flopping around. Birds suddenly scatter, people are confused, maybe curious. Some might even walk out onto the newly exposed seabed. Then a wall of water, maybe 30 feet high, maybe more, slamming into the shore within minutes. Just try to imagine not just the immediate destruction, the sheer force of it, but the almost instant unraveling of everything. Roads become rivers, power goes out, communication fails. All of those terrifying initial moments. It complicates any desperate attempt at escape or rescue. It's this devastating cascade effect.
Yeah, and these aren't just hypothetical nightmares plucked from thin air. The estimates from FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, they're pretty sobering. They suggest that a major tsunami hitting the Pacific Northwest, for instance, potentially from that Cascadia Fault, could lead to over 13,000 deaths. 13,000, and displace hundreds of thousands of people from their homes. These numbers really underscore the profound societal disruption we're talking about. It's not just the coast. The ripple effects go way inland.
And that critical time element you mentioned, it's terrifying. In many coastal communities, the evacuation time available after that initial warning or seeing those natural signs like the receding water, it could be as little as 15 to 30 minutes. That's an incredibly tight window for any kind of widespread evacuation. Why is it so hard for people to react quickly enough?
Well, it really boils down to a dangerous mix of things. Unawareness is a big one, and just the sheer speed of the event itself. Despite the very real risk, the unfortunate truth is that many Americans living near the coast remain either unaware of the warning signs or simply unprepared for what to do if a tsunami warning is issued. Because these events are relatively infrequent, you see, it often fosters this dangerous sense of complacency. It won't happen here, or it won't happen to me, all I know. This makes it a constant uphill battle to prioritize robust public awareness campaigns and, importantly, infrastructure improvements in those vulnerable zones.
But there are efforts underway, right? It's not like nothing is being done.
Oh, absolutely. There are dedicated people working on this.
I mean, the National Tsunami Warning Center in Palmer, Alaska, they're monitoring seismic activity 24/7, aren't they? And when a potential threat is detected, they issue alerts, texts, sirens, emergency broadcasts.
That's correct. That system is vital. It's our first line of defense in terms of detection and warning. And some states, especially those with more direct experience, like Hawaii and Alaska, are quite proactive. They conduct regular tsunami drills. They have clear coastal signs marking evacuation routes. So yes, there's definitely a framework in place.
Okay, so there's a framework, but you sound like there's a but coming.
Well, yes, there is a framework, but there are still significant gaps. Public awareness and infrastructure readiness still lag behind in many, many areas. This is particularly true along the Pacific Northwest coast, the Cascadia region we talked about. Experts are consistently warning that schools, hospitals, emergency services, basically critical infrastructure located in those low-lying hazard zones. They really must be better equipped and much better informed about the specific risks they face and the evacuation plans. The challenge isn't just, installing sirens. It's ensuring every single person, resident, worker, tourist, knows what those sirens mean, knows the natural warning signs, and knows exactly what to do and where to go when they hear them or see the ocean behaving strangely. That deep level of preparedness is still lacking in too many places.
Right. It's one thing to have the warning system, another thing entirely for people to know how to react instantly.
Exactly. That's the crucial link.
So ultimately, the core message here seems pretty clear. Tsunamis don't strike often, thankfully. But when they do, they leave a mark that lasts for generations.
That sums it up well. And the really critical point is this. The question isn't if a major tsunami will strike the U.S. again. Most scientists agree it will. The question is when. And crucially, whether we'll be ready when it happens.